Hello and welcome to this podcast that is being delivered by the 3 Sussex Safeguarding Adult Boards managers. This podcast is to summarise shared learning from safeguarding adult reviews undertaken across Sussex.
Hello, I'm Guy and I manage the Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Adults Board.
Hi, my name is Rue and I manage the West Sussex Safeguarding Adults Board.
And I'm Lucy and I'm the manager of the East Sussex Safeguarding Adults Board.
As part of National Adult Safeguarding Week, the 3 Sussex Safeguarding Adults Boards, known as SABs, are undertaking, coordinating and supporting a range of activities to support learning and development in relation to adult safeguarding. This podcast is being produced with 3 aims. Number 1, increasing knowledge and awareness amongst professionals of safeguarding adult reviews, known as SARs, which are a statutory requirement for safeguarding adults boards. Number 2, increasing knowledge and awareness of key shared themes being seen in SARs undertaken across Sussex, both in relation to good practice as well as areas for development. And number 3, sharing improvement actions that have been undertaken in response to these themes and considering further actions that professionals can undertake as part of their continuing professional development.
Safeguarding Adult Reviews, known as SARs and referred to as reviews in this podcast, are a statutory requirement of the Care Act. The criteria for a review is that someone has died or experienced serious harm, and it is felt that partner agencies could have worked more effectively to protect the person. Independent reviewers undertake our reviews. This is with a focus on multi-agency learning and to identify how we can improve practice and services. Reviews also look at what might have been done differently, which could have prevented harm or death. This is so that lessons can be applied to future situations. A review is not another investigation. It does not replace a complaints process, and it doesn't apportion blame to an individual or agency.
Across Sussex, there have been 15 reviews published in the last 2 years, and with several more underway. In Brighton and Hove, there is Christopher, James and Andrew. A thematic learning review is also due to be published shortly. In East Sussex, there is Adult B, Adult C, Anna, Ben and a thematic review. In West Sussex, there is Patricia Pelham, Jean Willis, BK, TD, an organisational review into Kingswood Care Home, a COVID-related review and a thematic review. These reviews explored a range of circumstances which included acquired brain injury, learning disabilities, multiple needs, domestic abuse, organisational abuse and self-neglect. We also identified a number of similar themes and we'll be focusing on 4 of these here in this podcast, and these are mental capacity, application of safeguarding processes, making safeguarding personal and multi-agency communication and information sharing.
The first theme is mental capacity, and an example of this occurred in the James review. James was a 42-year-old man with an acquired brain injury who received care and support from a range of organisations. However, concerns were identified in relation to substance misuse, antisocial behaviour and exploitation, and despite the support provided, James's overall condition deteriorated over a period of time before he died in 2019. The independent reviewer identified some good practice. James could be challenging to work with and often didn't engage, and there was a great deal of interagency communication and attempts to identify services that could support James. The efforts to support and promote James's independence were also recognised. There were some areas for development too. No Mental Capacity Act assessments were undertaken during the review period, with mental capacity often assumed, despite evidence of increasing risk. This was attributed to James's lifestyle choices without further exploration of the reasons for this. There could also have been more done to escalate concerns that were raised by some agencies around James's mental capacity. A number of improvement actions that have been undertaken, including existing local authority Mental Capacity Act training being reviewed and enhanced to include complex decision making, a multi-agency audit on mental capacity being undertaken by the Brighton and Hove SAB, and learning resources developed in response. A pan-Sussex SAB escalation and resolution protocol has also been developed to support improvements in escalating safeguarding issues, including in relation to mental capacity.
Working to safeguarding policies and procedures has significantly been a feature in 5 of our West Sussex reviews. I'm therefore going to share with you what the issues are in each of these reviews, rather than talking about individual cases. However, please do have a look at our reviews with accompanying learning briefings and podcasts. Our BK review identified that there was a lack of knowledge of policy and procedures about the Mental Capacity Act, the Care Act and self-neglect. Our thematic review tells us that necessary actions were not always taken, information was not shared appropriately and timescales were not met. There was also a failure to recognise and consider the need for multi-agency planning, risk assessment and the leadership role with escalating risk and safety. Our Kingswood Care Home review found that there was a lack of reporting of safeguarding and quality concerns, and that these were not always followed up, with no pattern being identified and responded to. Our COVID rapid review told us that safeguarding concerns may have been avoidable had there been improved clarity, decisive action and accountability. Our TD review suggested improvements to threshold decisions and inquiries, as it was found that there was a lack of action to address risk factors and a lack of line management oversight and recording. In response to the improvement needed, we have completed multi-agency case file audits resulting in action plans to take forward learning, created and promoted learning briefings and podcasts on self-neglect, risk assessment, and what is safeguarding to promote raising concerns, re-promoted the Sussex Safeguarding Thresholds guidance, drafted a learning briefing and podcast on safeguarding policy and procedures, and escalated the need to refresh the Pan Sussex Policies and Procedures website to make this user-friendly for practitioners, and we are leading on advising on the design for this.
Making safeguarding personal. Adult B was a 94-year-old woman who had died in hospital of natural causes, but when admitted was found to have 26 unexplained injuries, including a fractured nose and jaw, as well as old and new bruising to her face, arms and legs. She had been living firstly with her granddaughter and then with her son and his family. They were providing most of her day-to-day care, but with support from private care workers and community nurses. Good practice identified in this review was the level of documentation provided by the district nursing staff and the professional curiosity shown by the nurse who removed the makeup concealing her injuries, as this was the trigger to raise a safeguarding concern. Staff in accident and emergency provided a very detailed review of her injuries with a list of their concerns, which triggered a further safeguarding response. Some areas for development was the lack of confidence shown by practitioners in challenging family members who were providing care for a relative. Practitioners never saw her physically alone, and the concerns about her care were addressed only to the family without asking her how they had occurred. The review highlighted the differences in how child deaths and adult deaths are investigated and identified shortcomings in the final safeguarding investigation. Some of the improvement actions included updating and making a dedicated safeguarding personal section on the East Sussex Safeguarding Adult Board website, including guidance on making safeguarding personal. The Sussex Adult Death Protocol was also developed. Its main purpose is to identify deaths of vulnerable adults where there is an indication of abuse or neglect by a third party. It provides a rapid multi-agency response to identify and ensure any potential criminal investigations are undertaken in a timely manner.
The final theme is multi-agency communication and information sharing. This is a theme frequently identified in reviews, including being a feature of the reviews that we've just shared with you. Our board's response has been to take forward a range of actions.
In West Sussex, we have sought assurance from the self-assessment process and case file audits, and highlighted the need for information sharing in our reviews, accompanying learning briefings and podcasts. We also have 2 well-established monthly multi-agency subgroups. These are the multi-agency risk management subgroup, where information is shared to manage risk of those with high risk and complex needs, and our Quality Assurance and Safeguarding Information subgroup, which works to share and respond to the risk with providers.
In East Sussex, a multi-agency risk management protocol has been launched with accompanying guidance, assessing and supporting people with multiple and complex needs. It has been designed to provide guidance for practitioners working with adults with multiple complex needs and managing cases in which there is a high level of risk, but the circumstances may sit outside the statutory safeguarding framework.
In Brighton and Hove, learning briefings have been produced in response to published reviews that highlight the need for information sharing, and an audit has been undertaken on multi-agency safeguarding. A pan-Sussex SAB information sharing guide and protocol has also been produced to support information sharing across Sussex in relation to adult safeguarding.
Thank you for wanting to know about our reviews. The way you work is vital to lowering the risk of these situations happening again. So please don't doubt the importance of your contribution.
As the key takeaway from this podcast, the main issues for you to please consider in your work are mental capacity, following safeguarding processes, making safeguarding personal, and multi-agency information sharing and communication.
Finally, please know that our boards continue to work closely together to take forward learning from our reviews. We are creating a range of resources to help you understand and know of the reviews to support your learning. Please do visit our websites to access all of our reviews and learning tools. Thank you for listening.